Welcome to the deep dive, where we look at these beautiful, almost simple cultural images and find, well, that they're carrying millennia of hidden meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're focusing on the seventh day of that Christmas carol, the one that gives us this really elegant, almost impossible image of seven swans a-swimming.
It's such a peaceful image, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that very serenity, that grace, is actually the key to its hidden power.
Right.
We're not just talking about, a pretty bird in a song. We're looking at an incredibly potent esoteric symbol.
Yeah.
One that speaks directly to the journey of intellectual and moral refinement.
So our mission for this deep dive is clear. We're going to use this visual, the seven swans moving in harmony, as a kind of shortcut.
A shortcut, yeah.
To understand one of the oldest and most important educational structures in the Western esoteric tradition, the core curriculum you sometimes see in groups like Freemasonry, we're unpacking the number seven, the soul's journey, and this rigorous path called the seven liberal arts and sciences.
And this is really the curriculum that's designed not just for learning, but for generating what they would call light.
Exactly.
We're going to show you how these seven disciplines are perfectly symbolized by those seven swans and how they represent the tools you need for the soul to move from, say, ignorance through the material world and toward enlightenment with real intention.
Okay, so let's start with the symbol itself. I mean, the image of a swan gliding across dark, still water, it just feels majestic. What is it about this bird that makes it such a powerful archetype for transformation?
Well, the swan is what you'd call a truly liminal creature.
Liminal.
Yeah, it operates effortlessly between the elements. You have water, which often symbolizes the material world, emotion, the subconscious.
Sure.
And then you have air, which is the spiritual realm, intellect, thought. Because it moves between both so easily, it's long been seen as this potent messenger between realms.
And we see that in antiquity, don't we? It was sacred to Apollo.
Absolutely. The Greeks tied it directly to Apollo, the god of arts and prophecy, and to the muses themselves.
So poetic vision.
Poetic vision, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you look at, say, the Celtic tradition, swans were often messengers from the divine, linked to the transmigration of the soul. They were guides.
And this idea of refinement, it's not just a Western concept. I feel like I've definitely seen references to the swan in Eastern mysticism.
Oh, that's a critical point. In Indian philosophy, the swan is the Hamsa. It's a symbol of spiritual discernment. But the really profound term is Paramahamsa.
The supreme swan.
The supreme swan, yes. It's a title given to masters who have achieved the highest level of spiritual realization.
Okay, so discernment, that's the ability to separate what's real from what's false, right? But what does that actually look like?
Well, the myth is that the Hamsa has the ability to drink milk while leaving the water behind.
Wow.
It can literally separate truth from falsehood, the eternal from the temporal. It's the ultimate symbol for the purified soul, someone who can swim through the turbulent waters of illusion, which is, our material world.
Right. All the noise?
All the noise.
Yeah.
Engaging with it, but with total detachment and grace.
So, if the water is all the worldly challenges, our passions, all the data hitting our senses, the swan is navigating based on some higher internal compass.
Precisely. It's about poise under pressure, which is, it's vital for any kind of meaningful inner work. And while the swan might not be, a direct symbol on every Masonic apron, this figure of spiritual refinement is just. It's woven into the Rosicrucian, Knight Templar, and Hermetic branches.
It's that silent, powerful glide toward wisdom.
Leaving barely a ripple. That's the key.
Okay, so that effortless glide brings us to the number. We have 7 of them. Why 7? Why is that number so overwhelmingly prominent in, well, pretty much every sacred system on the planet?
What's fascinating about 7 is that it signals structural completeness.
Okay.
You see it everywhere because it connects the material world to the cosmic order. You've got the 7 days of creation, 7 classical planets, 7 notes in the musical scale, 7 colors in the rainbow. It sets up a rhythm, a balance.
So how does that connect to the structure of the lodge, to that curriculum? How does 7 become so important there?
7 is essential for defining what is complete. In many of these teachings, a lodge needs 7 or more brethren to be considered perfect or duly constituted. It's the minimum number for full structured function.
Got it.
But more importantly, 7 is the number that the foundation of wisdom is built on. The 7 liberal arts and sciences.
Ah, so the 7 swans aren't just some random flock.
Not at all.
They are 7 distinct disciplines, 7 rivers of knowledge, all flowing into one lake of wisdom.
That's the key connection we're making here. These are the rivers that the swan of the soul has to swim in. If the soul masters these arts, it gets the structure and perspective it needs to, well, to ascend from ignorance to light.
A sequence of
A
learning.
very specific sequence. First to train the mind, and then to use that trained mind to understand the cosmos.
Okay, this is where we need to slow down and really deepen the understanding for you, the listener. We've set them up as the 7 steps for soul purification, and they're traditionally broken down into the trivium, the arts of the mind, and the quadrivium, the mathematical arts. So if it's a curriculum for the soul, where do we start? With the mind or with the cosmos?
You have to start with the mind. I mean, you can't hope to read the blueprints of the universe if your own internal tools are faulty.
Makes sense.
The trivium, which is grammar, rhetoric, and logic, it deals with the fundamental arts of thinking and communicating. It's about training your internal instruments first.
Let's break those down. Let's start with grammar.
Grammar is all about the structure of language and thought. It teaches clarity, precision. It's the art of defining your terms. If your internal language is sloppy, you can't think clearly.
It's the foundation for intellectual integrity, then.
Absolutely. And from that structure, we move to rhetoric, the art of persuasion.
So taking what you know and communicating it effectively.
Yes, but in the esoteric sense, it's not just about convincing other people, it's about convincing yourself of the truth you found.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then being able to present that truth in a way that's harmonious and compelling. It forces you to align what you know with how you act. It's the move from just having a concept to actually taking action on it.
I've never thought of persuasion as an act of purification.
But it is. It forces that internal alignment.
Then we get to the final piece of the trivium, logic.
Logic. This is the absolute core discipline of reasoning. It trains the mind to spot fallacies, identify contradictions, to really discern truth from falsehood. Without logic, all you have is just a pile of facts, often confused and contradictory.
And that is so incredibly relevant today. Logic is the tool that helps you, the learner, filter everything coming at you, the headlines, the sound bites, and just separate the signal from the noise.
It sharpens the blade of discernment. And once a student has mastered these 3: clear communication from grammar, persuasive articulation from rhetoric, and sound reasoning from logic, then the mind is ready.
Ready for the quadrivium.
Ready to approach the more abstract mathematical arts.
So we move from the mind to number and harmony. We start the quadrivium with arithmetic.
Arithmetic is the study of number and measure in its pure abstract form. And this is critical because it teaches proportion, sequence, balance. It's the invisible order of the universe.
But how does learning algebra, translate into moral order?
Because it demonstrates integrity. It demonstrates fairness. If you understand proportion, you understand balance in distribution. If you understand sequence, you get cause and effect. You can't cheat the laws of mathematics, and the lesson is that you shouldn't try to cheat the laws of moral consequence either.
And from there to the science that's often called the noblest of them all, geometry.
Geometry is the visual language of that abstract order. It's the symbolic language of the divine architect's blueprint. It shows the universal structure that's inherent in all of creation, from the tiniest atom to the biggest nebula.
I'd never really considered that. We think of geometry and building architecture, but it's fundamentally about finding that perfect, noble design underneath everything.
Exactly. And that realization frees you from the feeling of earthly chaos. Because you understand that underneath all the surface turbulence, there's this unchangeable, predictable, beautiful mathematical order.
Next up is music, which most people just think of as entertainment, but here it's treated as a hard science.
A rigorous mathematical science, absolutely. Music is the harmony of sound, and it connects the static nature of number from arithmetic to the fluid nature of time. It mirrors what the ancients call the music of the spheres.
The harmony of the planets moving.
The celestial harmony, yeah. So if you can understand the math behind a perfect chord, you are grasping a fundamental principle of universal alignment. It's geometry, but set in motion. It lets the soul resonate with that cosmic rhythm.
Which brings us to the last one, astronomy, the study of the heavens.
And this is the culmination. Astronomy takes all the insights from the other 6 arts, perfect thought, perfect measure, perfect harmony, and it just expands your vision from your small, earthly concerns to the cosmic grandeur of creation.
It forces perspective.
It completely forces perspective. It humbles you. And altogether, these 7 disciplines provide the complete toolkit needed to shape that rough ashlar, the unhewn, imperfect soul, into a perfected, structurally sound form. But now we have to talk about the verb, the dynamic part. They're not just seven swans sitting. They are seven swans a-swimming.
Right. It signifies motion, doesn't it? The learning is never static. It's this constant, active journey.
It is the dynamic effort. The enlightened soul is actively moving through life without getting, as the sources say, drowned by the waters of passion, ignorance, or strife.
A swan glides, but that glide takes constant, elegant effort.
It does. And that's the definition of graceful conduct in the face of resistance. It leaves barely a ripple.
And we can connect that movement directly to the journey of refinement within the lodge structure itself.
Precisely. Just as the candidate moves symbolically from the turbulent west to the illuminated east, the swans symbolize that ongoing disciplined movement. The lodge itself becomes the sacred lake, the vessel for this journey.
It's that transformation from an awkward beginning to a luminous grace. The ugly duckling, the signet, becoming the swan.
That transformation is fundamental. The soul starts like a signet, awkward, gray, still developing. And through the discipline of applying these seven arts, it evolves to luminous white. It perfectly mirrors the mason moving from the rough ashlar toward a state of perfection.
A process that's never really finished.
It's ongoing until the last breath. And if we look at an esoteric parallel, in alchemy, the white swan is associated with the phase called albedo.
Whiteness.
Whiteness. The phase right before it is nigredo, or blackness dissolution, purification through darkness. Albedo is the clarity that emerges from that.
So the seven swans a-swimming are moving through the stage of purification. They've navigated the darkness of ignorance, and now they're prepared for illumination.
It's the symbol of spiritual clarity that's been earned through discipline. And that's why you see it pop up in other traditions, like the Swan Knight mythology. It's always about a hero serving the light through this silent, graceful pursuit of wisdom.
This has been a complete synthesis. I mean, that simple image of seven swans just snaps into crystal clear focus now.
Mm-hmm.
They represent the seven foundational disciplines: grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy, all moving together in perfect dynamic harmony.
And they whisper this powerful message to the initiate. Master the tools, move with intention, evolve constantly. Let these liberal arts be the current that refines you.
So what does all this mean for you, the learner, today? This image isn't just some obscure decoration, it's an internal guide. It's calling us to elegant conduct, deliberate study, and a commitment to growth every single day.
And this powerful reminder that the inner work is always ongoing. It leads us to the crucial, provocative question that the seven swans are really asking the listener.
What is it?
What is the quality of your soul's movement? Are you swimming toward truth, or are you stagnant in the waters of ignorance? We'd encourage you to think deeply on which of those seven arts. Maybe you need more logic to filter all the modern confusion, or maybe more geometry to find some universal order, which one you might need to revisit for your own continuing refinement.
Let your soul swim.